Hello and welcome to our Thursday night live. I hope you are all well. First off, I have to apologise because my microphone isn't working, had a technical gremlin, so I'm using a different microphone, but hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. You'll have to let me know in the chat if everything is working okay. I am very excited to see you all tonight. I know I haven't been on for a couple of weeks. Last week I wasn't on. But before we get into what we're going to do tonight, I just wanted to remind anybody watching, you might be watching on replay or you might be live. Welcome, but remember that this is live. I haven't pre-recorded anything. I don't have a script. So I may talk a little bit longer than you're used to. Apologies for that, but that's just how we roll on a Thursday night. So feel free to pop in the chat, or if you're watching on replay, where you're watching from, and let me know how your day has been. Maybe you've been getting up to some sewing, or maybe not. I can see we've got Susan, Sandra, Deb, Zoe, Donna, Martin, Esther, loads and loads of people's names that I recognise. Hello, hello. Do let me know as well if you are new to our Thursday night lives. If you've never been here before, let us know in the chat as well. Hi Kim, Cruise Buddy, hello, hello. Hi Adriana, hi Karen Ann. Hit those likes as well, because that really helps me as a creator here on YouTube, and it helps other people to find the channel. So tonight we are going to do a tip or trick of our day, and this is one that is a really good one to learn. So I'm going to head over to, before I do, I wanted to say a huge thank you. I had a pattern release on Friday. It was the Vicky May. Which side is it? This side. You can see the 3 versions there. I had a pattern release on Friday and the support was overwhelming. So thank you so much if you have supported me as a pattern designer in any way. Thank you, thank you. And we also, last week was crazy because we also had the Genie bag come out into the 77 Club. And while I'm talking about the 77 Club, the little badges, like I have here, are going to be going out very soon to all of the 77 Club members. I am going to be sending out a questionnaire so you can add your address, because I don't have everybody's address. So keep an eye out on that if you are a 77 Club member and you haven't got your badge yet. So let us move over to the overhead camera. I can see I'm near Atlanta, Georgia. Amazing. Debbie says, never been able to do this before. Oh, brilliant. Heidi is from Las Vegas. I'm a newbie, homesick today, so I was able to watch live. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Heidi. But not so great that you're sick. I hope you get better soon. Okay, let me move over to our other camera. There we go. Hopefully that is working okay. So I am going to be talking about the Genie bag pattern, because that is the pattern pieces that I have pulled out to show you this little trick. Maybe it's one you know already, maybe it isn't, but especially if you are newer to bag making, this is going to be really helpful. So often on our pattern pieces, it will say cut 1 in outer, cut 1 in lining, cut 1 in stabilizer. And I always recommend that you have your stabilizer with your seam allowance removed from the seams, because it's going to create less bulk in your pattern and through your machine. Your machine is going to love you more, and you're going to be able to do the top stitching a little bit easier than if you don't remove the stabilizer from the seam allowance. So on all my patterns, I have the seam allowance, or definitely on my newer patterns, I have all the seam allowance drawn in, so you know exactly where you are. Let me see if I have the, typically I don't have, oh yeah, I was going to say, whenever I do I was thinking that there was a zipper top to this bag, and there isn't. When I do the zipper gusset, I will have a 1/4 inch seam, which is around about 0.7 centimeters, and for that obviously I want to note it on the pattern so that you can do your pattern matching if you have any, and all of that good stuff. So when it says cut 1 with seam allowance removed, the easiest way to do that, thanks Esther, you're liking my nails, the easiest way to do that when you have a rectangle is, and maybe you can see what I have done here, is to just fold it on those lines. And you can see that I've done that because this is pre-folded. And in the tutorial for the genie bag, if you are a club member, you're going to have access to that. If not, that will be out in September. You will actually see me doing that. I've filmed the tutorial, so I show a little bit of the behind the scenes preparation of that tutorial as well. But as you can see, I folded that out the way, and then you don't have to cut it out twice. And you don't have to have a second pattern piece. I always try and make as few pattern pieces as possible because I know it can get confusing, and it's just better to have less pattern pieces if possible, isn't it? So by folding those, you don't have to print it out twice. You could print it out twice, totally fine, but then I would get a bit confused. So that is how I do it. I then lay that onto the stabilizer, and then you have got the exact shape that you need for the stabilizer. Then when you attach it to your pattern piece to the back of your fabric, you can actually use this as a guide or a ruler. You just measure in 1 centimeter on one side and you're going to know where to place it. However, you may be thinking that's all well and good if you've got a rectangular piece, but what about if you've got a curved piece like this piece here? And I'll show you an even deeper curve. Obviously it's just the corners on this one. So again, I would fold around the seam allowance. It does help having that drawn on there. And then when it comes to the corners, I would just poke that down, because it doesn't have to be a perfect corner for your stabilizer. If you're ideally it would be, and you can always trim that off after you've cut it out, because that is going to help your bag sit a bit nicer. But as long as you stitch around that curve, you're still going to get the bag sitting beautifully and with the bottom corners really nicely. There's another technique though as well. Penny says the genie bag is such a lovely bag to make. Thank you, Penny, one of my testers. Oh, Deb's not very well either. Oh my goodness. So when it comes to having a kind of crazy curve like the top flap of this bag, the way to do that is to make slits going around the curve. And so then what you can do is you can turn it over and fold in those seam allowance pieces so that it will follow the curve really nicely. A little bit like if you're making snips to turn out a piece. So like when you're turning this, I recommend in the video, or I use in the video, pinking shears, but you can just snip into it like that, cut out triangles, and as you can see, that's followed the curve pretty well. So now I can lay that on my stabilizer and I can cut that out nice and easily. We have got a slightly deeper seam allowance on the top, so it's worth noting that and folding that down as well. And then we are good to go for our stabilizer. So it was a quick tip, quick little trick for you tonight. Hopefully that has helped you, especially if you're newer to bag making. We like to kind of do different tips and tricks throughout our lives, and also on the last Thursday of every month we do a bag making news. So whether it's new patterns, maybe it's a new podcast like Deb has from Me Made Makes, all different things that have come to the bag making world, we share them on the last Thursday of every month. And that's always really fun because you can find out new bag patterns. Obviously I'm always talking about my patterns, but it's really nice to find out about all the different things that are going on in the bag making world last Thursday of every month, same time, 8 p.m. UK. I always say UK rather than GMT because then we go into British summertime and it goes all crazy. Stacey says I always snip and fold the corners. Very good. Okay, so that is our tip or trick of the day for today. I hope you found it useful. If you didn't know about it or you just think it's a good reminder, let me know in the comments below, and I shall see you all back here next Thursday at 8 p.m. and maybe we'll do a longer one next week. Thank you so much everybody for joining me, everybody in the chat and everybody that has left a comment afterwards. I shall see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.